So I woke up this morning and I realized that I'm in the real estate investment roller coaster journey for 8 years now. 8 years is a significant time, and I was trying to think, so what did I learn? What is the most important lessons or tips that I learned over the years? And I was trying to think, okay, if I need to give an advice to someone who is considering to get into real estate investments, what would that be? What would be the most important 3 tips I can give to someone who's like considering starting now? So here is my most important, most valuable 3 tips for real estate investment, 3 tips that I learned over 8 years. The most important, by far, the most important thing for me is actually, if you want to be a successful investor, you need to invest. I know it sounds a little bit redundant and it sounds a little bit stupid to say that, but in order to be successful, you actually need to act. And today there is enormous amount of things you can learn. Podcasts and websites and seminars and networks meeting and so many things. And don't get me wrong, educate yourself is the best way to actually be careful with your hard-earned money. But at a certain point, you need to dive in. You need to jump into the water head first, because there is no other way. And I remember when I went to those networks meeting, and I saw all those like few people who sit in the front row, who write all the notes, probably recording the conversation and then listen to them again and have some more notes and maybe call and network. And after a few years, when I was deep into the real estate investments, I still saw them writing notes and they have done nothing because they thought, okay, I'm not ready yet. I have more things I need to learn. And there is no such a thing. You will never know everything. You will never be in a position that you know all the answers. You just need to start. And guess what? Some of them are in Toronto. So in the time they were kind of like hesitating and on the fence forever, right? The price in this market goes like hundreds and hundreds %. Plus, if they would do something, any investment, at this time, they would probably learn much more from real life than from all those seminars. So the most important thing is actually at a certain point to do it, to act, to dive in, and to realize that yes, you will never know everything and you need to start. Tip number two is always diversify your investment. Always diversify your risk. Never ever, no matter how attractive, no matter how safe you feel it is, no matter how great you feel this certain opportunity is, always do the thing and say, you know what? If this one fails, I have another one. And sometimes it's so tempting, sometimes it's so hard to say no because you feel, oh, this is so much better, this is so much faster, this is so safer, I'll just do that and then, I can have more fans to kind of keep it going. But don't do that. This saved my ass. This literally saved my ass, because if I wouldn't do it, I was in deep shit and I don't know if I was able to recover. So always diversify the risk. Try to do, if you're doing one thing in a market, if you're doing flips, then do something else. If you work in one market, have another one in another market. Never put all your eggs in the same basket. I know it saved my ass. Tip number 3, and this is strongly connected to the first one. This is another thing that really saved me. Always keep some emergency funds. Keep some backup funds in case something goes wrong. Because guess what? Sooner or later, something will go wrong. And when I find myself where my boots in the ground, my partner, my reliable, beloved partner in Kansas City, Missouri, when I find out that he actually stole my money, that 2 of the houses that I sent money to renovate, right? The money is gone. I will never see the contract. The contract will never do it. I have hard loan money on those, and I have to hire another contractor to complete the job. When I realized that, I knew that I was so grateful that I had something on the side that helped me to kind of save myself, survive, pay another contractor, and then sell the houses and minimize the damage. If I wouldn't have that, I don't think I would be able to finish, and then I was really in deep shit. And so I learned the hard way that keeping a certain amount as a reserve, keeping a certain amount of funds for emergency is such a great idea. It's so important, and not doing that is very risky, and all of real estate is all about minimizing the risk. So my advice is always to do that. And beyond those 3 key tips, I want to say to anybody who's considering getting into real estate that if you're not willing to pay the price, don't even start. If you not willing to say, you know what, at a certain point, one day, I would want to bang my head against the wall. I would want to ask myself why. I would question if this is for me. I would want to quit. I would be so devastated and so lonely and so desperate. If you're not willing to do that, don't get into that. And not only that, after you fail, after the worst thing in terms of investment happens to you, you need to ask yourself, will you have the power? Will you have the strength to say, okay, I'm starting all over. I learn and I keep going, because that's the most important thing. Everybody, it happens to me. And I think overall, I'm a good investor, not because I'm so smart, not because I have a special edge or special technology or special knowledge or connection. It's simply because I was willing to act, I was courageous enough to act and to act fast. And when I fail, when it didn't happen, when it didn't work the way I want, I didn't quit, and I say, okay, I'm gonna try again. And this is what I think makes me a good investor. And this is also the tip for you. If you're not willing to go through that, if you're not willing to pay that price, don't get into that. But if you're willing, and if you understand mentally that this is where you're going, in the end of the day, the reward is gonna be much bigger than the stress, the agony, those dark moments, the loneliness, all of that. So I hope that gives some added values to people who are thinking about it, and even to investors who may be in one of those stages. So after 8 years, those are my 3 most important tips, and I hope it was helpful. Adios. Yeah. Look at this. Look at this beauty. Woo!